Okay, since we got a lot of questions about how corner boosting and midair corner boosting works, I'm just gonna put together a quick little video on, well, basically explaining how the whole corner boosting slash midair corner boosting mechanics work. But first, we have to get familiar with a few states in Rainbow Six Siege that are kind of part of why corner boosting works. So for example, our first state is standing. This is just a regular position where you're not falling, not moving, you're just standing in place. Your current velocities are 0. Yeah, and then we have our second state, which is falling. In this state, your falling velocity, in this case I will name this one y, will not be 0, so this will be greater than 0. And what this state causes is you start falling. In between these two states, there's actually a third state which is used for whenever you get stuck into a position where you don't have anything below you. So the game detects that you should be falling, meaning you can't really move any direction, but your falling velocity, which is y, is still 0. So at this point the game thinks, oh, you must be stuck, okay, let me help you. And it gives you a small bit of horizontal velocity that you can use to dash out of these positions. It basically gives you a little dash. If you got stuck anywhere in this game, you will know what I'm talking about. By default, this is a great mechanic, but we can use this mechanic to our advantage. Another term we have to familiarize ourselves is half dropping. Half dropping occurs whenever you start walking off an edge and start falling, but since your physics hitbox has rounded sides, both the bottom and top is rounded, by default you would just start sliding down a little like this. You wouldn't feel that dropping effect. But since falling in Siege work kind of like a Looney Tune cartoon in which where you can walk off and then start falling. So in real life, your falling curve would look like kind of like this. But in Siege and Looney Tune cartoons, the falling curve usually looks like this. It will make you so that you don't just kind of glide down, but you go horizontally, then start falling, and then your hitbox catches itself or your character, and that is what you feel when you half drop. That movement where you walk off, wait a bit, and then drop down. And if you go far enough, your hitbox will be like, this angle is too steep for me to keep this character on, so I will just slide him down. How corner boosting actually works is you have to like walk off until you get into this sweet spot where game thinks you are kind of in that floating animation we talked about, so it gives you horizontal velocity, and you can actually feel that when you get the corner boost velocity. And after that you can just press forward and get that velocity, and yeah, and just dash a little. I will not get into why it's rubber banding you. If that's something you're interested in, you can either ask in the server or you can watch. Ozzy has a great video on corner boosting and the different ways to corner boost, but I will not go into that subject right now. Okay, so corner boosting, it's pretty straightforward. We understand it, cool. But what about midair corner boosting? Why can you keep it? Why can you move with it any direction? And why does it trigger after you start falling? Now these are all great questions, and let me kind of give you my best attempt of explaining this. So you get yourself into the floating animation. Cool. You get your x velocity. So this x velocity will be above 0. because the game like permits you that, okay, you're stuck here, cool, I'm gonna help you get out of this. What you will do is you dash yourself with that velocity in a way so you land in a half drop. But since you're far down enough, the game still thinks you are in that floating animation. So it will try to help you, granting you more X velocity. And the great part about this is they can actually walk onto this object now and keep this X velocity. And then you can basically move anywhere. So you can move around objects. You can even, if you have a ramp or something that is kind of the same height, you can move down on it. You can do whatever until the point you start falling again, because that's when your middle will activate. Like the same way how corner boosting works, you just get into the falling animation again, and that will trigger your stored X velocity or horizontal velocity to push you. Okay, but why can you extend nomad air jabs with this, you ask? And this is another great question. So whenever you trigger a nomad air jab, it will put you into a fourth state, which we call animation state. And in this state, you won't be able to get pushed in any direction because you're logged into that animation. But after the animation already played, what will happen is you start falling, and that will trigger your midair corner boost that you have stored. I think that's about it. One last thing to keep in mind, these are all theories. All of this can change. I might be wrong on some stuff, but yeah, as far as I understand, this is how corner boosting and midair corner boosting work in Rainbow Six Siege.